We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
So, you are now known as probably the favourite ex-flat earther.
Am I?
Yeah. People are constantly sending me your videos and saying how much you ruin people, well, especially Flatzoid. I think Flatzoid goes to bed and has nightmares about you, Rachie.
Well, I did say I'd lay off him if he laid off me, so I've laid off him a bit.
You shouldn't. He's horrible. Just do it. Ruin everything he says.
I know he is, yeah, but honestly, he gives me an headache listening to him.
Oh, yeah, no. That's flat earthers in general, right? You know?
Especially Flatzoid. Oh, like, honestly, I don't know how I even used to listen to him because I get such a headache now.
What, you mean like when you were a flat earther?
From listening to him, I don't know how I used to do it.
I don't understand how anyone can really listen to flat earthers and like flat earth streams and stuff. They're so crap. There's no entertainment in them.
I think when you agree with them and you can kind of understand their point of view, it's easier. But once you realise how, I don't mean to be mean, but how dumb they are, like, and how
Rachie,
wrong
be mean.
they
It's
are.
fine. You're allowed.
Yeah, but once you realise that, it's hard to listen to them without getting a headache. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. And that's why I do it, so hopefully you guys don't have to. But you're so good at being a flat earth debunker. You should definitely keep up with that.
Honestly, I'm thinking about leaving it all.
Yeah, I understand. I have those moments where I'm like, fuck's sake, I don't want to deal with these people anymore. But then I remember how much fun just dealing with this side of the community is. If you ever do
so
stop
annoying.
debunking them, then just make sure you stay a member of the community because people really like you here.
Well, honestly, I've been thinking about moving on from it all because it's like, you know, I've been through it and I've tried to help people as well after coming through it, and it's like, it's just so hard that you just want to leave it in the past almost. It's like, oh, I don't know if I can do it anymore.
No, I understand. I really do. Which is why I'm glad I've got you on because I've been wanting to have you on for a chat for a long time. And yeah, if people don't know, Rachie and I, we had some pretty dumpster fire debates before she realised that we were actually trying to help her. And yeah, I was quite mean to her sometimes, and she was mean to me back, and you know, it was just how it was. But I feel like we've developed a bit more of a friendly relationship, and I'm really glad that if there's any way that I helped you, then it makes me extremely happy. Because I was trying to help you, even though we had those very hostile moments.
Yeah, definitely. I know you was trying to help me. You definitely helped me with Coriolis because I didn't understand that at all.
I'm glad. I that's one thing that flat earthers really pee me off with because they just won't even attempt to understand it. So, I've written 7 questions, which I would just like to ask you and get your thoughts on how you feel after coming out of the flat Earth, if that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
So I don't really want to talk about how you got into flat Earth because I think everyone's heard that story a million times. What I think is more important is how you left flat Earth. So the biggest question I've always wanted to ask you and get you to explain is, what was the first moment or the first piece of evidence that really made you start doubting flat Earth?
Honestly, I can't say there was one piece. It was all of it together. So, as you know, Bob Nelberdell, rest in peace, would say, it's the preponderance of evidence. So, once you put all the different pieces together, it's like, well, this works on a globe, that works on a globe, that works on a globe, that works on a globe, and you've got nothing that works on flat Earth. It's like, at that point, you have to start questioning yourself, and it's like, well, all this can be explained on the globe Earth, and none of it can be explained on flat Earth. So it's like, straight away, that's almost like a point for the globe.
So it's just when you started putting it all together and you just realised that maybe this bit works on the flat Earth, or maybe this bit, but together it just doesn't.
Yeah, so it's like all of it works on a globe, and not all of it works on a flat Earth.
Was there any bit of evidence that you found stronger than anything else that really helped you, come over the edge, or was it just the fact of putting it all together?
Well, putting it all together, but also with the geometry of the angles to Polaris, the elevation angles.
That's always
If you
a good one.
just take, if you just take the flat Earth and you just, assume it's flat, and then take the angles to Polaris, you know that it doesn't work, and then obviously you can try and bring in refraction and optics and try and make it work that way, but it doesn't work. So it's like that, among the other things, added together, it has to be a globe because it doesn't work on a flat Earth.
Absolutely. Rubik's for £2 says that she really respects you. It takes a lot to admit that you were wrong. It does. That's an incredibly strong thing to do, and a hard thing to do. Especially when, you're so deep into something like the flat Earth, which is like changing a worldview. To admit that you're wrong about that, I think is an extremely strong thing, and you've demonstrated that you're a strong person doing that.
Yeah, it definitely is. And some people, struggle to admit that they're wrong. But at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with being wrong. You just have to accept that you're wrong and, learn from your mistakes. That's how we all learn, isn't it?
I know that I've not got everything right all the time, and I like when people that are smarter than me tell me I'm wrong and explain how I'm wrong, because then I know more and I'm better. And, that's what I find with flat earthers is they hate being told they're wrong. It's a fight from them. Yeah.
And
Tatiana,
I'll admit I did too. I'll admit I'll admit I hate being told that I was wrong, and I've tried to prove myself right.
Yeah.
You just can't do it when you're defending flat Earth because it's not right. Unless
you lie a lot, like Flatzoid.
Yeah, but even then, you can't actually really defend it because either you're lying completely or you've got no evidence to actually back you up.
Tatiana Ferreira says, for 2 years, Rachie, is there anything that still gives you doubts about the globe?
No, I can't say that there is, although there was something the other day that I started questioning, but I can't remember what it was now. But no, there's nothing that actually makes me doubt the globe Earth because everything is in evidence of the flat Earth. But there was something I was questioning the other day, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was now.
Well, please, if you ever have questions, then feel free to reach out to me. I'll always happy to answer any questions that you've got.
Yeah, I just can't remember what it was now.
Right, so I think one of the big questions that is important for people to hear is hearing about what happened to you after you left the Flat Earth. Like, what kind of backlash did you face from the Flat Earth community? Even when you started questioning things before you left and then you left, what was that like from the Flat Earth community for you?
Well, then they just turn on you and you're a troll, or you was never a Flat Earther, or you was just doing it as, what they call it, and like an imposter kind of thing, and you was never really questioning the truth. You was just a plant, shall we say. It's kind of like what they're doing with Jaren at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was totally wrong about Jaren, and I'm happy to admit that. I always thought that he was a troll that was just grifting, but he's one of the most honest people within the Flat Earth that I've met. And I know for a fact that after December, he's not going to be a Flat Earther anymore. This is the end of Jarenism being a Flat Earther. We're all seeing it live.
Well, I do think he has the most potential to turn against it because I think he's the most honest out of all of them that I've actually come across.
Yeah.
I do think he's the most honest and willing to say that he's wrong than a lot of them.
And it's good that he's got such a large audience because hopefully some of the Flat Earthers will see him do that and not just accuse him of being a troll. The Truth Finder says for £2, Rachie, you have to stay at least until the final experiment is over.
Well, I do want to, but it's hard as well because it's like, actually, that was one of the questions I had for you. Like,
yeah.
It was how many of the Flat Earthers remaining that's actually like known in the community, like active, do you think are actually really truth seekers? Because it's hard for me to want to stick around when I think of a lot of them will never change their mind.
I would say 10% are. Honestly, the amount that actually are genuine is very small. Dirth, he's not a real Flat Earther. He is in it for the grift 100%. He knows he's lying. Austin, I'm not sure. He's confusing me lately. Jaren, I know for a fact that he is an actual, truth seeker. And there's a couple other ones that I talk to that, you can kind of, I'm almost getting to the point where I can tell from the questions that they ask if they're real or not. I think Flatzoid's real, but I genuinely think that that's just because he's fucking stupid.
It comes across like he's just really dumb sometimes, but honestly, I don't think he's for real, personally.
No,
man.
I spent a lot of time thinking about it and watching him and listening to the way that he acts, and he's either a very good actor or he's just actually that stupid.
It's one of them, ain't it? He's either really, really stupid to the point that you can explain something a million times in a million different ways and he still can't get it, or he is a grifter, because it's like, even when I was coming out of Flat Earth and I was questioning things, and then he started. The thing is, even when I was questioning him on things like Coriolis, for example, then he'd start calling me a liar and a troll for trying to explain Coriolis and going through the maths with him and things.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how can you call me a liar and a troll when this is what Coriolis is and this is what the formula is for Coriolis and things like that? It's like, how can you call me a liar and a troll when this is actually the physics for it? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know with Flaxseed. I do
confusing.
honestly think he's a grifter.
Well, I mean, he doesn't get a massive amount of money from it. Like, I watch his streams and they get one donation, if that, you know. I just wonder if grifting is worth it for him, the amount of effort that he puts into it.
I think I think honestly, he thinks if he puts in enough effort and he does enough live streams and he can get the audience and the support that he wants, because he's already said he wants to come out of the paint spraying business that he does. And, you know, it's bad for his health and things like that. So it's like, to me, it's like I feel like he's just trying to get out of that situation that he's in. And this is his opportunity and he's trying to make the most of it.
So he's trying to build it so that So he's trying to build it so that then he can fall back on it and leave his job, you think?
Yeah, I think he's trying to become as big as Jaren and Witsit and, you know, Eric DeBay and things like that, trying to gain a big audience, but it just isn't working for him at the moment.
No. I love the fact that me and Toon are the ones that convinced him to keep doing the streams to just annoy Nathan Oakley.
Well, they've been fighting lately, haven't they?
Oh, yeah. It's brilliant watching them fight. We've got a question for you there. Second Best Bob asks you, who was your favourite Glober when you were a Flat Earther?
Second Best Bob, obviously.
There we go. Right. So my next question for you is, what was the hardest Flat Earth belief or thing that you thought was real to let go of?
The hardest?
Yeah.
I think it was like just the picture, the way you imagine Flat Earth and the fact that it's all level and it was created, and it's easier to imagine that it's all built on a level plane than it is a globe. And then when people put the idea that it's going at this speed, 1,000 miles per hour, as I like to say, and going around the sun and going around the galaxy at all these different speeds, I think it's easier to just imagine that it's flat and it's stationary, or level, as Bev would say, and stationary, than it is the globe. So I feel like that's the hardest to let go of, water being, level, and the Earth being actually level.
So it's just getting around kind of the semantics of it all, really.
Yeah, and when they say like, oh, we can't see the curve, but then when you see the curve, it's the eyesight, or it's the geometry, or it's the geometry of vision. And they come up with all sorts of excuses, or it's the refraction that's making it that way, and it makes you want to, look into that more. Well, for a lot of us, or at least me, it made me want to look into that more. And, you have to say that all the people who are experienced in that and research that and, have their fields of expertise in that are wrong.
Absolutely. It's honestly mind-blowing sometimes, the egotisticalness of Flat Earthers. That everyone else is wrong, yet I'm the one that's right. I was watching the Flatsoid stream yesterday, and he was arguing with ChatGPT and just declaring that everything that ChatGPT said was just bullshit, except when it slightly agreed with him.
Yeah, I saw that when he was like, oh, it's bullshit, full of shit. And then like when he agreed with him, yeah, that's correct.
Nick N, $2 Canadian says, congratulations on 48 hours. Yeah, I've been streaming for 2 days. Awesome. And then they gifted 10 memberships, which adds another 20 minutes to the timer. I'm never stopping.
Good.
Let me just check my calculations. What we've got, 139. Oh, apparently have I missed some? Apparently I have missed some because I'm actually at 1 hour 39. Right. Okay, next question. Let's get you back up on screen. Alright, apart from me, was there any particular people or resource or bit of evidence in particular that helped you see through the lies and the pseudoscience of flat Earth?
So me and PhD Tony also had the kind of relationship you and me did, where he helped and he provided resources and different things to look into. MC2 also. ChatGPT was a big one for me because even though I didn't agree with everything that he said, and I actually did videos where I didn't agree with everything that he said and it got things wrong, it was also almost like talking to I can't say the word. ChatGPT was like it took away the judgment, where like you talk to somebody and they're judging you. It was like ChatGPT wasn't judging you. It was like a conversation where you can talk to them, and even though you don't agree with it or you'd question it in certain ways, you didn't feel judged. Do you know what I mean? Or like you were stupid because you could just say whatever you wanted to it. So ChatGPT was a good one, even though I didn't always agree with it. And yeah, you, MC2, and PhD Tony, a lot of people in the community, and just questioning myself really as well with the cognitive dissonance and talking to ChatGPT about bias and stuff and getting over that was a big thing for me, and realizing how many people would have to lie in order for the Earth to be flat and not be a globe.
Yeah. So you mentioned like cognitive dissonance and bias. Did you feel like you had a bias towards the flat Earth? Did you want it to be flat?
I did, yeah. Especially when people say you're wrong, you kind of want to say, no, you're wrong, I'm right, and prove yourself right and they're wrong. So it's like, that was also a bias to try and say, no, I'm right because of this, and this, and you're wrong because of this, and this. Even if it was like the slightest thing, like, well, Neil deGrasse Tyson said this, or Brian Cox said this, just, it's almost like a twist of words, and you don't even realize you're doing it until you come out of that.
Okay. So looking back at before you became a flat earther, was there anything about you that made you feel, or anything in general that made you susceptible to the flat earth theory? But the way that you think in general, or, just, was there anything that you felt was the reason that you fell into it?
Not really, no. I mean, I'll be honest, I've always been a conspiracy theorist, and so I fell into a lot of conspiracy theorists and believed a lot of stuff at face value in of videos that I've seen and things, and question things based off what you've seen. But no, I can't say there was anything in particular. It's just, for me, the only reason I got into flat Earth was basically gravity. I came across, I think it was a Vsauce video, and I think I still have the comments on there, where it was like, I think he did a video which was why things fall down.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like bendy space-time was ridiculous, incredulity, and then realizing things was less dense and things more dense go down, things less dense go up. And then that's when I came across you and Sleeping Warrior and things, and that's how I got into it. But can't say there was anything in particular. I think I've always been conspiracy minded, so it was probably more that, because like I did look into 9/11, Area 51, what's his name? He had the handprint and stuff with Area 51. He used to call the aliens to him. I forgot his name now.
Oh, I know you mean. I can't remember his name either.
Yeah, I can't remember his name now, but him and things, and like I looked into a lot of different things, even QAnon and Pizzagate and things like that.
So coming out of flat Earth, has it helped you kind of leave any other conspiracies?
Yeah, it's definitely made me question myself, and I do question a lot of things now and don't just take things at face value. So I don't just see a video and go, oh, you're right, you know what I mean? I check the sources to that, and also context matters. So sometimes people will take videos out of context and you'll be like, oh, that's true. Like I've seen a lot of Joe Biden, for example, they'll take Joe Biden and they'll be like making him look a complete fool.
Yeah.
But then when you actually look at the context of it, he isn't actually as much of a fool as what they're making him out to be. Do you know what I mean? Like they'll say, oh, look, he don't make no sense. He's like got dementia or whatever. Yeah. And then when you actually look at the actual video, he actually makes sense in that video. And it's like, well, actually, he isn't as bad as what you're making him out to be.
Yeah, it's like when flat earthers will do a video of me They will clip me out of context constantly, and in the context that they put it, it can make me look like I'm saying dumb things. You know, that's really easy to do. If you take, a 3-hour conversation that someone's had, you can take clips of that and make them sound stupid, guaranteed.
Definitely, yeah. And I've seen that actually done with you, especially with Flattery. He's took certain bits. Even you and PhD Tony took one where you was talking about gravity or something. And it's like, well, if you actually took the full context of that, you'd understand that they're talking about the same thing and they actually agree, but he makes you look like you disagree.
Yeah. Lies. It's what they do. They just lie. If they're not truthful, they have to lie. So how do you view... Oh, wait, that was this one. Right, what was the most ridiculous Flat Earth claim that you believed at the time? And how does that make you feel now that you believed it?
A lot, let's be honest. The most ridiculous. I don't know, because there was a lot, Like, looking back at it now, you see all of it as ridiculous, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So to try and pick one as the most ridiculous.
Is there nothing that you look back and you think, oh my God, how do I believe that?
Well, some videos I've done, like, for example, the parallel sunrise when they're not parallel. Now I look back and I'm like, without swearing, you're an idiot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when I look back at some of my previous videos, I cringe. I can't even watch them. I'm like, oh no, I can't listen to this.
I think it's important that you leave up your Flat Earth videos, though, because it sees the progression, which is really nice to see. So looking back at your time as a Flat Earther, does the whole thing just kind of make you cringe? And because everyone's got those times where you'll lie awake, you'll be asleep at night, and then you just wake up and you go, oh shit, that thing I said 4 years ago, that's so cringy. You're having those kind of moments about Flat Earth? There's
been a lot of times like that, yeah. And the only reason I've left those videos up is because I seek truth, speak truth, because I know that he was told to leave them up. Mm-hmm. And I've kind of followed in his steps with that, like on what people have advised him. And it's like, bro, I hate them being on there, to be honest. It's like, it's so cringeworthy and embarrassing. It's like, was I really like that? You know what I mean? And watching them back, it's like, how could you even believe that? And now that you see things different, it's like, but then you still have people comment saying, this is a great video and, you're right that the Earth's flat because of this or whatever. And it's like, but it's not.
I know. They need to tell them, like, watch my later videos. You can always go into the videos, maybe edit the description to be like, this is what I used to think. So maybe people would see that.
Yeah, I can signs that says that. And I went back on especially because he was on about the parallel sunrise with the trees videos I did. And I went back on that and I did edit the description, but it's like, I kind of want to take them down because it's like, it's almost like misinformation, especially if they only watch that and they don't watch your newest ones. So it's like, it's a hard choice to make. Do you know what I mean?
Chat, yeah, I do see the time coming up on 12 hours. In 10 minutes, I'll switch over to the new stream. Don't worry. So, is there any Flat Earther that you used to interact with that you really regret interacting with?
I wouldn't say regret, but there's Flat Earthers who have turned on me since then. So like me and Flatzoid was always quite close. And then as soon as I started questioning him, he didn't like that. And he turned on me and I was a troll and I was this and I was that, I was a liar. Or, he came after me for that. Sleeping Warrior, me and him was quite close. And then again, it was like as soon as I went to the globe, cut off communication, that was it. It's like as soon as you disagree with them, they don't want to know at that point. Even though you was pretty close. It's like, you can't even disagree with them without being labelled a troll, a liar, or being cut off.
This is why I say so many times that Flat Earth destroys people's lives, because that's what they do. If they don't have people that agree with them, they cut them out of their lives and, and family and everything. And I bet you felt like you had friends in the Flat Earth, like maybe Sleeping Warrior and Flatzoid were friends to you.
Yeah, I mean, I would have easily met up with them for a drink or anything. To me, I did see them as friends, and then it's like you've almost got My cat's running wild. It's almost like you got bit in the back by them just because you're questioning them or just because you disagree with them on something. It's like, oh, well, you can't do that. Now you're a liar. Now you're a troll just because you're questioning them and almost making them look like an idiot because they know you're right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Deep down, maybe they do know and they're right, that you're right. And that's why they hate being questioned, because they've got to face up to that.
Yeah, and it's hard because it's like you want to be friends with them and you am friends with them. And then it's like they turn their back on you.
Hello, Kitty. I want to be on stream. So, with Flatsoid specifically, because you say that you think he's a grifter, do you think then that he was just using you? Because he was friends with you because you were a flat earther. But if he's just a grifter pretending to be flat earth, how does that make that relationship feel for you?
Well, for me, it's hard because it felt good at first, and then as soon as you question him, you get turned on. But he seems to like the yes men, the yes people. I mean, there's so many, even a few times, like he's admitted he's been wrong, and yet he knows his panel, like some and PJ and Michael Khan or wherever, have agreed with him, and he's even like put it on his shorts where they've agreed with him, going, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, even then he says, no, I was wrong. It's like, well, why aren't you questioning your panel at that point where they're saying they agree with you, and yet you know that now that you're wrong and you've admitted that you're wrong? Doesn't that make you question your panel because they're just like yes men?
But he's happy that he's got yes men. That's what it is.
Exactly, but you should be happy that people question you and people put you in your place almost, like, where they question you to the point where you can question yourself. But none of his panel do make him question himself. They just agree with him.
Yeah. Flatsoid's been arguing with me about, like, what a hypotenuse is. And he had a picture on screen of an equilateral triangle with the 45-degree angle, and he went to his whole panel, isn't that 45-degree angle the hypotenuse? And they went, yeah. No!
Exactly. That's all they do. And I've said that to him before, and I don't think he likes that. Like, he just wants people to agree with him, and that makes him feel good. Oh, yeah, they're agreeing with me. I'm right, I'm good. And it's like I've said to him before, I've said, you shouldn't want yes men around you. You should want people around you who actually push you forward to do better and to be right and, to make the right choices and to be correct kind of thing. If you're wrong, you're wrong. There's no problem with that. But
yeah.
you shouldn't want everybody around you. You should just go, yeah, everything that you say is correct. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's why I'm so happy I've got people like PhD Tony and Clive Wells in my community, because they pull me up if I'm wrong. And they've done it both several times, And it's not like I go, oh, screw you for telling me that I'm wrong. I'll be like, oh, right, okay. Well, let's find out why I'm wrong, get into that and understand it. And then I ask them and they'll explain it really well for me. And now I feel like I'm a better person. And
exactly.
I don't understand why flat earthers can't see it that way. We're trying to give you knowledge that will make you better.
They just see it as almost like an attack because you're not agreeing with them. And it's like, somebody doesn't have to agree with you in order to still be your friend. They can disagree and be trying to still be your friend.
Yeah. Rick, for $5, he says, Rachie, have you considered re-releasing your old videos with analysis as a self-debunk? So just doing a debunk video on your old videos?
I have, but again, going across them makes me cringe.
It's hard.
Like,
yeah.
I can't even listen to myself. I'm like, oh my days.
I imagine that is quite hard. Yeah. I watch some of my old videos on this channel, even though I'm right in those videos. Like, just watching myself back from like 5 years ago. Oh shit.
It's cringeworthy, and not only that, honestly, I know they say everybody hates their voice, but I literally hate my voice.
No, you got a lovely voice. It's for a Brummie accent, it's pleasing.
I can't stand it. I listen to myself and I'm like, shut it off.
I think everyone's like that with their own voice, though.
Yeah, it's just cringeworthy, and then what you're saying on top. Ugh,
yeah.
no.
Sometimes I'll be like editing my videos. I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up, Craig. Just. So, was there any ex-flat earther that helped you?
Any ex-flat earther? Seek truth, speak truth. He always was there. To be honest, I can't say I ever felt judged by him. He always tried his best to explain things to me, and I'd say he was there for me. And Jose JG, Jose, however you say
Yeah,
that.
he's disappeared now.
I know, and I do honestly miss him. He was, really nice, and he was always kind. I miss
Yeah.
him, and yeah, see, truth, I'd say them too.
Cool. I've had both of them on the channel for interviews. I think they're great people now. Jose can be a bit triggered sometimes about things, but it's a shame he's gone because he did hold a good platform that people could talk on. Rubik's
He
gifted
did,
another
yeah.
membership, so let me add that. I am never, ever, ever, ever stopping streaming.
Good.
So how do you view other flat earthers now that you're out? And what advice would you give someone who is still completely caught in the flat earth?
Okay, how do I view flat earthers? The first question.
Yeah.
How do I view flat earthers? It depends on the flat earther. So some of them I view as grifters, some of them I view as spreading misinformation, and some of them I view as coming into that misinformation and just being incorrect and gullible and soaking it up and not understanding the physics and the geometry of things and therefore agreeing with it. So the grifters and the misinformation spreaders, I have no sympathy or no time really for them. But the people who actually fall into it, who don't understand the physics and the geometry, those are the ones that I would like to reach. But it's like, how many flat earthers are in that category compared to the grifters and the misinformation spreaders, the ones that are just like, following a leader, a role model, so to speak.
So I always say that flat earth just exists on the internet because that's how I feel with it. What is your opinion on the role that social media plays within the flat earth?
Well, social media does have a big role in it, and that was mainly where my presence was, but I did also bring it outside of social media. I remember speaking to one girl on the train, and she just literally laughed her arse off at me when I was a flat earther, to be honest. I was on a train, and I remember bringing it up to her. She was like, "You believe the Earth's flat?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm trying to convince her and bringing up different things. And yeah, she was just laughing her ass off at me, to be honest. And then like bringing it up to certain family members. I remember laughing my ass off about bending space time with them. Look, I'm a mass. I'm bending space and time. Incredulity, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Look, I'm mass. I'm bending space and time. I'm making this football and I'm making this attract me. It's incredulity because you don't understand the scale of it.
Yeah.
So
So you mentioned your family and stuff. Did your belief in flat earth affect your relationships with family and friends?
no, I can't say they actually did.
Good.
They just, accepted. Well, that they was laughing at me, laughing at that kind of thing, and it was like, there was like, what the F is she on about kind of thing.
Like, all right, Rachie. Oh, okay, then. Just have another beer, love.
Yeah, and when I brought up like straw man and you're straw manning me and you're misrepresenting me, the typical flat earther arguments and stuff. They was like, what are you on about? And I'm like, that at that point it did cause some kind of conflict, but yeah, for the most part, no, it was still alright. Like,
Okay, well, what about when you came out of flat earth? How did your friends and family react to that?
I think better because at that point they already knew that I was wrong and was falling into something that was conspiratorial. Although I have got family members that are conspiratorial, but like, I think they felt better. I mean, even when I tried to explain level as horizontal to one family member, and then I tried to explain the globe version of level following the curve and stuff. I actually agreed with the globe at that point, and it's like I was trying to get them to understand the flat Earth level.
Yeah.
And that they didn't take to the flat Earth level. They could understand the globe Earth level kind of thing. So
Yeah,
it's like,
flat earthers just don't understand
really
words.
Yeah, I don't think they really took to the flat Earth and that. They question certain things, especially the moon landings. And this is when I told one family member, I said, look into Dave McKeegan's video, and it was the moon landings. How can they talk to the presidents and stuff from the moon via the phone line and stuff? And I was like, if you listen to Dave McKeegan, and I even sent him the link via text and stuff. I was
Yeah.
like, if you watch Dave McKeegan, he does a lot of videos where he explains certain things, and it was also a funny thing happens on the way the way to the moon. Funny thing happened on the way to the moon. They couldn't understand, when they apparently put that curve in the window to
Yeah.
make it look like I was further away from the Earth than what there was. I says, look, Dave McKeegan is a photographer. He knows this, 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 and this. I says, here's a link to his videos. Watch a few of his videos, and you'll actually understand that actually what the flat earthers are saying is BS, and you'd understand what's actually true about that kind of scenario.
Right, What's your cat's name?
Good boy. Carrot. My kid's named
Carrot.
Carrot.
Yeah, my kids named our cats. Well, we had Dave and Frisbee.
Kids' names. I would have named him Lightning or Garfield, to be honest, because he's ginger. But
Yeah.
Carrot it is. Hey, stop attacking me. You're on play mode. Okay? Shh.
But Mummy, give me attention. Right. You kind of mentioned about it on the train with the other girl, and that. But was there like any family members or any close friends of anything that you really tried to convince of the flat Earth theory? And how would you feel about those conversations now?
Yeah, my mum and stepdad, I definitely tried to convince. And my stepdad's more conspiratorial, I feel like.
Right.
But I wasn't able to convince them. They did question things, but no, I wasn't able to convince them. And the way I look at it now is I'm glad that they didn't fall for it, because trying to get them out of it would be a lot harder. So I'm glad that they didn't fall for it.
Cool. You're glad that you didn't manage to actually convert them then?
Definitely, because getting them out would be a lot harder, than getting them in, kind of thing, I feel like. Ow. Ow.
That cat is bullying you.
He's in his play mode. I know.
I always find it about this
Yeah,
time, like 10:30 at night, cats go into their zoomy modes.
He does. At first thing of the morning and last thing at night, he does, yeah.
How old is he?
He's he's one now. Just
Oh, right,
turned
still
one.
a little baby.
Yeah, he is, bless him. It's almost like he has catnip, but he ain't even had no catnip.
We've got a cat called Esme that's 18 years old now. Coming up for 19, actually. I know.
Bless.
She's older than my marriage to my wife. It's crazy.
He's crazy.
Right. So, flat Earth arguments, I think we all know that they're circular. They constantly go round and round with the same ones. Is there any new flat Earth arguments that you've heard that kind of made you think?
No, I can't say there is. They're all old, aren't they? And then, like, looking at them, a lot of them are, like, it's almost like you go back to 2015 or 2017, as I say. It's, a lot of it gets repeated because you get the new flat earthers coming in for repeating the old stuff.
Yeah.
There isn't really anything new coming.
No. I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly my point, is that there is nothing new. There is no new arguments. And it is a cycle of new flat earthers come, fall for the old arguments and repeat them around again until that doesn't work anymore and a lot of them leave, and then a new bunch come in and start the cycle all over again with the same old arguments.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. You know what I mean? It seems like
the amount of time people be like, "Oh, look at this picture from NASA. Africa's too big." I don't know how many times I have to physically get my camera and show them how it works.
I think it's because I see all the old videos, and then it's like that makes sense to them. So it's like they end up repeating that. It's the same as me. Like, I don't come into I think it was 2019. It was around COVID time, I think. I came into it, and then repeating how come we don't feel the speed around, spinning around its axis and going around the sun and going around the Milky Way. Which actually, as a flat earther, you don't understand that the speed, the tangential speed, and obviously I know now, around its axis, like the rotational speed, is actually bigger than the rotational speed around the sun, which is bigger than the rotational speed around the galaxy. But because the 500,000 miles an hour is bigger than 1,000 miles an hour, you feel like the 500,000 miles an hour you would feel more, which, again, tangential velocity versus rotational speed, it's like the rotational speed is actually bigger compared to going around the sun or going around the Milky Way galaxy. Do you know what I mean?
So the forces involved are bigger, even though the thing is smaller. Yeah, and they just don't get that. I almost feel like they're scared by big numbers.
But it is because you do feel like you should feel that, well, if you don't understand physics, you feel like because it's a bigger number, you would feel that, but you don't.
Schooner became a new member. Welcome to Scrapper. So I will just add another 2 minutes to the timer.
20 minutes.
Shh. Right. Was there any particular Flat Earth influencer that kind of dragged you into it?
Well, Eric Dubay first got me into it, and then after that, I'd say Sleeping Warrior.
Really? Oh my goodness, Sleeping Warrior.
And
You must be embarrassed about that, right?
Well, that's your fault.
My fault?
You did a video about Sleeping Warrior, this is an egg and all this. Yeah. And because it's not that. If you're a flat earther, when you watch the globe earthers debunking flat earthers and you're looking for flat earthers, you watch, because you was debunking Sleeping Warrior, the video they're asking, because he's a flat earther and you're debunking him, as a flat earther, I then want to see that flat earther that you're debunking and talk to that flat earther. So it's like whatever flat earther you're debunking, you want to be like, talk to that flat earther and see what they're saying about it.
So then you fell into, I don't say fell into bed with Sleeping Warrior because that sounds disgusting, but so you just fell into a relationship with Sleeping Warrior because you watched my video. Rachie, I want to offer you my unreserved apology for that being the case. If I am the reason that you fell into a relationship with Sleeping Warrior, I deserve some kind of penance. I am so sorry.
So you should be.
I should be.
No, I think for me as well, it's because he was talking about the relative density, less dense up, more dense down relative to the medium. And I'd already considered that less dense up got more dense down relative to the medium, goes in that direction. And then he calls it relative density disequilibrium, which I didn't call it at the time. Then I wanted to know more of his thoughts. So I think it was that, and then, I don't know, like I say, it's a bias, isn't it? You want your thoughts and what you think to be true. So you try and, get those people who agree with you rather than understanding the opposite point of view where actually they are debunking that.
Caucasian Sensation wants me to congratulate you for being intellectually honest and coming back to reality.
Thank you.
It is awesome to see. So I was watching Dave Weiss earlier, and one thing he keeps saying is how this place was created for us because we're special. And for me, that's something that I see about Flat Earthers a lot. Is they say I feel special because I know this place is made for me. As a Flat Earther, did you feel like you were part of something special? You had some secret knowledge that no one else did, kind of thing.
No, I wouldn't say that. So people said to me a lot, "Oh, you just want to feel special," things like that. No, it wasn't for that. Feel like it was created, yes. Feel like there's a creator, yes, and I still do feel like there's a creator, but special because of it now. But do I feel like this place was created? Well, to me, there's one or two options. All this, if you look around you, was either created or it's always existed in some form or another. I mean, I know they have the, the bubble expansion and where it comes back together and it goes out. I can't remember the exact name for it now. They have
Big
that.
Crunch and the Big Bang, yeah.
Yeah. So it's either always existed or something created it. And for me, I do believe in a creator, I'll be honest. I believe in the creator, yeah. But to feel special now, I mean, just because somebody creates something doesn't mean that thing that created is special.
That's a really interesting way to look at it, because I suppose you're right. I mean, if someone's working in a factory pumping out millions of things, then each one of those things isn't special, is it?
Exactly, yeah. Just because, it's like creating a game or something. Just because you create games, you could create like 100 games. What makes that one game special? You could have created 100 different worlds, universes, whatever.
Yeah.
What makes you, especially as an individual, special?
I'm enjoying talking to you. Right. So as you came out of the Flat Earth, was there any particular scientific concepts or facts about the globe Earth that surprised you the most?
Yeah, quite a few. I mean, it's the learning, isn't it? So, a lot of it I didn't understand. Like the speeds was the one that got me because they always get you with tangential speed versus rotational speed and what you should feel and what you shouldn't feel. So understanding that got me. There's a lot of physics I've learned since that as a flat earther you don't understand. You know what I mean? You feel like you should feel this thing or you shouldn't feel that thing, or physics should be this way instead of that way. And it's like there's so much that I don't even know where to start because like I've learned that many different things. I don't even know where to start with it because I honestly have learned that much. And it's like for me in school I didn't learn that much, and then I've had a lot of people help me and I've learned more than I ever did in school, like what, 15, 16, 17 years in school.
Yeah. So when you like came out of the flat earth, then for me, I think if I was a flat earther coming out of it, accepting gravity would be the thing that shocked me the most about myself.
Yeah, gravity was the hard one, I'll be honest. Like I said, I used to laugh about it on bending space time, the incredulity and stuff.
Yeah.
On bending space and time, look, this mass is attracted to. I remember just laughing about it with my family. And my dad was just looking at me like a crazy. No, I accept it, but no. I look at Eddington experiment. I look at LIGO. I look at, you know, the gravitational lensing and different things like that, black holes. I look into all the different things, and it's like, you know, there's so much evidence for it. How can you just deny it just because your incredulity can't accept that space and time is bending? And when you look at space has to be a physical thing when you think about it anyway, because if space wasn't a physical thing, then how are you moving left, right, up, down, diagonal? It has to exist. It has to be something. And then obviously you've got the time. Some people call entropy, but even entropy can go backwards. But like you've still got time is a harder one than space. I'll be honest to admit, but then converting it into one in space time and things. But once you get your head around it and you try to actually understand it rather than try and debunk it, it's a lot easier to accept.
Yeah. When you start understanding the concepts behind it, like time is a hard one because you know, we kind of see time as an absolute, but it's not. Time is relative to each of us, and you know, if you were moving faster than me, then time for you would be moving at a different speed than time for me, and I can see how accepting those would be a difficult thing, because it does sound kind of crazy, but the fact is we've got evidence that that's the case. You know, experiments of muons heading towards Earth and stuff, and seeing that they shouldn't be able to reach the Earth based on their speed they're going, but because there's time dilation, there's more chance for them to do it and things like that. And yeah.
Yeah, and like pound Rebka and things like that. But yeah. It's like with the flat earthers, as soon as you make a simple assertion, less dense up, more dense down, it's relative to the medium. Well, that's so simple, you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, you know, accept that because it's simple to grasp. It's a simple analogy. It's a simple thing compared to, you know, the bending and walking, the space and the curvature, and then the geodesics, and get into all that. You know, that's a lot more, do you know what I mean, mind-boggling kind of thing you'd like to get your head around.
Yeah, totally. When you were a flat earther, or becoming a flat earther, was there any particular experiments that flat earthers had performed that convinced you?
Let's be honest, I don't do experiments properly, do I?
No, not at all.
I mean, I did some myself, you know, with the floor and things, and all the bottoms disappearing. But I used to think my floor was flat as well, and that's what a lot of people do. Like you got the table experiment where they make the bottom of the coin disappear and things, but they're below the table level, like.
Yeah.
And I did it, and I opened my door, and I think it was winter at the time, so you had the cold air coming in, and I had literally a radiator pretty much by the door, or halfway between the door and the coins and things, so you got different kind of refraction going on. And honestly, what experiments do flat earthers have? They have the laser test, which again, it's all refraction, and they don't understand refraction.
And they refuse to take it as a variable. Yeah,
and then obviously they have to say everybody who's studied refraction and who are experts in refraction are wrong.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, like, what do they have? That when that's the thing as well. As a flat earther, you always question the globe model, and you always try and debunk the globe model, but you never actually question the flat earth model. I mean, I remember somebody in my comments not long ago, and there was like, oh, I like observations. I was like, oh, I like observations too, And then we started talking and stuff, and I can't remember exactly what we said now. And now I was like, oh, I've noticed you've criticised the globe on this. I says instead of explaining the flat earth position on this. And it's like you always go to attack the globe position on this, but you never go to defend the flat earth and how it works on the flat earth. It's always attack the globe because it's a misunderstanding of the globe or a misrepresentation of the globe, rather than explaining it how it works on a flat earth, because they can't.
Yeah. That's every debate I've ever had. There's never been.
Sorry. Yeah, that was me too. Sorry.
There's never been a flat earther that has presented evidence for the flat earth. Their evidence is always the globe can't work because of this.
Yeah. I admit I was the same. Yeah, I questioned you how many times. This don't work. But did I actually bring evidence to the flat earth? No, I didn't.
No. We just argued about the specifics of gravity and stuff, really. And
exactly. Where did the A come from, FTFE?
Rachie, no!
I know, stupid.
So, what is for you the most frustrating argument that flat earthers make?
The gravity and water being level, not understanding scale. Oh, okay, yeah, it's level over a table now. If it's level over a pool, level is what they call it. But what about level in the grand scheme of things? When they bring up like surveying, but then they only bring up planar surveying, but then ignore geodesic surveying. There's so many, because they just this is the thing. They only stick to a small scale thing. Even like, I want to say Dell, bless him, but obviously he don't. Yeah, but obviously he doesn't agree with the acceleration of Earth. But even that, like the motion of the Earth up, that's again a small scale, analogy, not a grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it doesn't work for explaining things like the Cavendish experiment, and it could literally only explain why things go down, and that's it. I find it interesting with Dell how he's switched from there is no gravity at all to oh yeah, it's because the Earth is going up. I missed when that happened.
Well, it's the thing is with him. So, I mean, most people could understand it if it's the Earth accelerating up, and it's coming up to meet the objects, but he doesn't even agree that the Earth's accelerating up. It's the Earth's going up at a constant speed, and then the object, for some magical reason, even if you put it in a vacuum, for some magical reason, loses the speed and just falls down to the Earth at that speed. Even though it changes.
He doesn't even think it's accelerating upwards. He thinks it's going at a constant speed.
Yeah, he thinks it's going up at a constant speed, and then the object decelerates. So the Earth's going up at constant speed, the object's got the constant speed, and then the object decelerates, losing that speed at a deceleration rate, which is acceleration down, to be honest. Let's be honest, from a different point of view. Decelerates down.
But why?
And then, exactly. And then if he tries to use the air or the medium as a deceleration down, you could do it in a vacuum. The object still falls down, so it's not the air or anything around it. It still accelerates, decelerates, in his view, down. And there's no reason for it to do that other than it magically loses the speed, because why? Conservation of momentum isn't a thing then.
Yeah,
and then not only that...
He's just denying conservation of momentum completely.
Yeah, and then not only that, it changes at different points of the Earth.
Yeah, of course it does, yeah.
So it's like, how can you have different objects decelerating at different speeds, even if you was to use the same object at different locations? How can they decelerate at different speeds? For what reason? It doesn't work.
No. I mean, I kind of ignored Dell for a long time because he wasn't interesting, and he just said the same things about gravity on a ball. And I go back to him after a year, and he's talking about gravity. There is a gravity, but it's the Earth moving upwards. And I'm like, what? When did this happen? And then
I
I
can
saw.
understand where that comes from, but yeah, completely wrong. I mean, Einstein was closer than that with the equivalence principle than what he is, to be
But
honest.
what I did enjoy was watching the arguments between him and Flatsoid about it.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it. Even Flatsoid doesn't understand it though. Flatsoid thinks the Earth's accelerating, actually accelerating up. He doesn't actually understand it either, to be honest. But yeah, it's hilarious watching them both argue about it. It's like Del kind of understands it more than Flatsoid does, but they both really don't get it.
No. So, do you say Flatsoid thinks the Earth's accelerating upwards?
Well, Del does, and Flatsoid thinks Del saying the Earth's
Right, I
accelerating
see.
upwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that's what Del was saying, to be honest. I didn't realise he thinks it's a constant speed, which makes completely no sense.
Exactly, it's a constant speed. So you got the Earth saying going up at 1,000 miles an hour, but then you detach that object, and then the object for some reason decelerates, which looks like an acceleration because obviously it depends on your frame of reference. So it's accelerating down if you was looking from it from that way. It'd be accelerating down from you if you was up here. But from down here, it's decelerating because it's losing the speed of the Earth for some reason.
What?
Yeah, crazy.
Bless. Del doesn't even understand how circles work.
What is that?
He thinks that because when you're like above the Earth and you see the curve of the horizon, right? He doesn't understand because I explained to him that the horizon is equidistant all around you, right? So for him, that means it's a circle. And he doesn't understand if you hold a circle below you and you're looking straight forward, in your line of sight, it's going to be a curve in front of you. So he couldn't get over the fact that it wasn't a circle, it was just a curve in front of you. And I've had to literally do a video of holding my daughter's hula hoop in front of the camera and moving it down to show that it goes from being a line to curved, even though it's still just a circle.
I think he calls it the toilet roll Earth, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Bless him. Okay.
But again, I can understand that. I don't know if it's just me, but it does make sense in a way what he's saying. But he's completely wrong.
Yeah, it makes sense, like, initially, when you first think about, well, how can a circle be like that? Because you know what? It was a concept that even my brain was a bit like, I need to conceptualize this in a different way to be able to explain it. You know?
Yeah.
And it was actually Toon that kind of explained to me, well, just imagine that and going down, that's the best way to explain it. And yeah, I sometimes with flat earthers, I can understand where their confusion comes from. They're not smart people, so some concepts are going to be above them.
I think that's why a lot of people fall into it, because if you just think of it as a first glance and you don't give it deep thought, or you just deep think into what their perspective of it,
Yeah.
then it's easier to fall into that without actually questioning what the reality is of the situation.
All right. So my final question for you, Rachie, is I think probably the most important one. And as an ex-flat earther, someone that was quite deep in it, dealing with some of the big people in the flat earth, what advice would you give somebody who is starting to question the flat earth, but is kind of afraid to let go of their belief?
Run. No,
Run.
well, it would be run, to be honest. But,
Get the fuck out!
but they ain't gonna run, let's be honest. Research, actually what the flat earthers say, do your own research and actually do it. Don't just listen to the flat earthers, actually do your own research. Because I feel like they say that, but they don't actually do it.
Yeah.
I'd say try and understand the physics, understand the geometry, understand the maths. You know, it might be hard, you know, but you know, if it's worth if the truth is worth knowing to you, you'll do it.
That's brilliant. If the truth is worth knowing, you will do it. That's something that flat earthers should take to heart, because they don't do their research. They will just listen to Dearth say lies and go, oh, well, that's true. And when you ask them for evidence, they send you a Dearth video of Dearth lying. But
That's what they do.
That's not evidence. That's a person lying. I'm asking you for evidence that those lies are true.
It's like, I was talking to one person and I was on about Coriolis, and I said, oh, what evidence you got against it, or whatever. Sent me an Eric Dubai video, and it wasn't even about Coriolis. And I says, that isn't even about Coriolis, it was about something else. And then they sent me another one.
Yeah.
And I was like, again, this isn't actually about Coriolis. You're talking about like, you know, toilets or sinks and that where the scale is too small. I says that isn't actually evidence of what you're saying, and I never heard back from them, to be honest.
No. So flat earthers, they just won't ever listen. So what would you say is the easiest way for a flat earther to break out of the cognitive dissonance? Because they won't do the research. So would you say there's anything else that can help them just outside of like actually looking at the globe? Is there anything mentally or like that, anything, you know, about people that you think they should change to stop being a flat earther?
Honestly, I don't think that it's almost like an addiction, ain't it? Unless you want to change, you won't be able to change. Unless you want to stop that thing, you won't stop that thing. So unless you want the truth, you won't seek the truth. And sorry, seek truth, speak truth. But you know, unless you honestly, unless you want the truth, you're not going to seek the truth. And unless you're willing to put aside that bias, you know, you're never going to see the truth. Because if you want it to be flat, then you're going to ignore everything that comes across, that you come across, every evidence, every, you know, experiment, every expert, everything that says it's not flat. You're going to just be like, well, I want it to be flat because that's your bias. And at some point you do end up in a cognitive dissonance, and then it's like up to you to overcome that cognitive dissonance, because you know all the evidence says that it's not flat, but you still want to believe that. So at that point you have to make a choice. Am I going to go with the evidence, or am I just going to go with what I want to be the truth?
Yeah. So I always refer to flat earth as the gateway drug of conspiracies. Because I feel that if you're a flat earther, then everyone is lying to you, and that means every other conspiracy can be true, which I think is really quite dangerous. And for me, I feel like it makes flat earth the tip of the iceberg. What would you say is the best way to combat the misinformation of people like flat earth and science deniers?
Honestly, just putting the evidence out there, isn't it? And, you know, combating the people who are spreading the misinformation. But it gets tiresome repeating yourself over and over again, just for, you know, it feels like for nobody to listen because they're stuck in that bias, or you're a liar, or you're a NASA shill, or, you know, whatever. But you want to help them, and you know, the obviously fighting the misinformation is the best, and putting the evidence out there is the best, and that's what got me out of it. And, you know, understanding my bias and my cognitive dissonance is what got me out of it. But it's like I said, unless they want to get out of it, they won't get out of it. So
Yeah.
it's sometimes it feels like you're fighting a losing battle. And not only that, I feel a lot of them, I'll be honest, I feel a lot of them are trolls and dishonest and that. I mean, even Sleeping Warrior, when I was speaking to Sleeping Warrior, he'll go on like he's a flat earther. But even when I was speaking to him, he says, I don't know the earth is flat. So why do you say that you think the earth is flat, or go against the globe? Why don't you say, honestly, come out and just say, I don't know if the earth is flat or not, I'm on the fence. But he does it, and he acts like he's on the flat earth side, and yet he admitted to me he doesn't actually know if the earth's flat or not.
Well, I'm making a short out of you saying that.
Go for it. I don't care, you know what I mean? The truth's the truth at the end of the day. I don't really give a shit.
No, it really is, and I'm really happy that you're able to speak the truth now. It makes me happy, and I am sorry about how harsh I was to you sometimes. I got triggered with arguments, and I think you understand why.
That's one more thing I would say, is if somebody's actually questioning it, and they're on the fence, they don't know either way whether it's flat or globe, that they're literally looking into both sides of it, is don't call them a pole, or don't say they're in it for attention, or don't say that. Just give the honest side of it, the evidence of it, because you'll almost push them into a side, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I at one point got told you have to pick a side, and it's like, at that point, if you're on the fence and you're 50-50, okay, I can understand this point of view, I can understand this point of view. It's a Libra as well. Libra understands both sides of views. You know what I mean? If you understand both sides, and you can understand both sides, and then you'd be told to pick a side, and then you're like, there's no evidence for this, but that's another thing. You don't look at evidence. It's a bias again. It's like, okay, there's no evidence for this, but there's no evidence for this either, but you want it to be this, so you pick this.
Well,
yeah, I mean, don't push somebody into a position. Just try and be nice. Try and give them the evidence and what they want. And if you know they're taking the piss and you've guided them everything that you can, gave them all the evidence, all the explanations, at that point, just cut ties and be like, okay, well, I've gave you everything I can. What more can I do?
Is there anyone you miss in the flat Earth?
Honestly, I don't want to say I miss people, but I want to be friends with everybody, you know what I mean? I'd love to be friends with Flatzoid and Sleeping Warrior and all them again, but it's like, at the same time, it is what it is. Do you know what I mean?
You're better off without them, I'm telling you.
I don't know.
They don't care about Rachie. You proved that they don't care about you. The second you said that the Earth's not flat, they hated you. And that's not what friends do. You know?
Yeah, I know, but I'm all into giving second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth chances. I don't know. I just want what's best for everyone, and I just, hope everyone be the best version of themselves that they can be and be as honest as they can be. And, everybody F's up, everybody makes mistakes. Yeah. I just want everybody to try and be the best version of themselves that they can be. And, we might take each other, I mean, even me and you, we've had our backs and forths, but we've come out the other end, and yeah, you can have your backs and forths, but just try and be nice to each other at the end of the day and try and get over whatever, has happened without swearing.
I'm never being nice to Daniel Pratt. I'm never, ever being nice to Daniel Pratt, sorry.
At least be nice to his water heater.
yeah, that thing goes through enough, man. God. Well, I think we'll end this, Rachie, by reading your super chat from Crypto Roast that says, Rachie is proof that intelligent flat earthers are not flat earthers for long.
Not intelligent, just learning.
Are you happy with the final experiment? Do you think that's going to screw a lot of flat earthers up?
No, nothing's going to change.
No, I just think it's going to give me more reasons to poke them.
There might be one or two who change their mind, but for the majority, no, nothing's going to change. It's still going to be flat.
Well, Rachie, I really appreciate you coming on and talking with me. I know it's late for you and you've got kids and stuff. So, yeah, thank you very much. And it really warms my heart that I was able to help you leave what is, for me, one of the most dangerous and horrific cults on the planet. And it's definitely a planet.
Definitely. And I'm glad you was able to explain Coriolis and things to me in the way that, because I didn't understand. But yeah, I'm glad you was able to do that for me. As well as PhD Tony and a lot of other people, to be honest, who's too many to probably not name.
And I mean, if you're ever in a situation where you've got questions, feel free to reach out. If I don't know the answer, I'm sure I know someone that will.
Okie dokie, no worries.
Well, thank you, Rachie. Lovely speaking to you.
Don't forget to stream for another 24 hours anyway.
Well, it's not up to me, is it? I'll see you later. Have a nice day. Bye.
All right, take care. Bye.
Oh, man, she is awesome. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight